Here we go. Alrighty. Welcome to Worldwide Slot Car Chat number 37. I'm your host, Greg Gaub. We've got most of our usuals here, and I'm sure more will be on the way. We got Kelly Avery, John Kitt, Old Slot Racer, Mr. Luff Linkert. Mike Mauer's been here a couple of times. Garth Frudd is here again. He's got a special preparation show. Hopefully we can see that sometime soon. Chris Walker and various other people. We get somebody. Not sure who that was. Well, like we usually do, we'll start with show and tell. I got a couple more blue and yellow cars. So instead of holding them up to the camera and having it focus badly, I'll just go ahead and share my pictures that I took of it. You've seen this one before. This is the NSR. Russ showed his one off a couple weeks ago, and I turned right. Sorry, not NSR, Thunder Slot, same diff, but Thunder Slot, not NSR. Russ showed off his, and I said I need that car, so I went and bought it, and it finally came a couple of days ago. The other car is the Revo Slot Viper. I'm not sure who the main livery is, Fujifilm or something, but it's blue and yellow, so I bought it, and it's Revo Slot, so it should go pretty well. I've put they're sitting on my track. However, the entirety of the rest of my layout has all kinds of various things and junk sitting on it. So I have not actually driven them around yet, but I expect that they will be fun to drive. So that is it for my show and tell. Does anybody else want to show and or tell? Go ahead, John.
I'm actually, that Porsche that I'm working on, I actually managed to put the body on the chassis. So I'd be more than pleased to show that if anyone wants to see it.
Nah, we'll skip you.
Okay.
Of course, show it.
Hang on, let me share my screen here. One moment, caller. Okay. Oh, where's my? Oh, there it is. Okay, I'll share screen. And there we go. And share. This is there it is on the setup block.
Very nice.
It's such a lovely kit. That Tomy kit is just wonderful, and the front opens and the rear opens as well. And believe it or not, the metal on the top of the doors, I guess you'd call that, what would you call it, molding? That's real metal that comes with the kit. Sorry, that was a little blurry. I was getting all excited. I'm sorry.
Are the front and rear bumpers the same metal?
No, they're chrome plastic.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. So then I thought I just had to plop it on the track just to see what it would look like. And it really is coming out quite nicely.
Is it a model kit or a slot car?
That's actually a model kit. It's a 1/32nd scale Tomy 356A Speedster. Wow. That I put a Sidewinder chassis under.
Nice.
And that's your.
Does anybody make a 356 kit, slot car kit?
Not a slot car kit, but Ninco made the classics. They had a line of 356 Porsches.
Was that your first brass chassis, or had you done ones before that one?
I done brass chassis before, but this is probably only the third Sidewinder that I've ever done, and I did it with an 030 motor, and the chassis runs really quite well. So I'm hoping that the car will run well as well. So well as well. How many wells can you say in a sentence?
Very well. Chris, what were you going to say?
So there you go. So that's the next one. What really is going to be a bit of a challenge is that I want to make it look like a 1950s club racer from California, and they all had hand painted numbers on the side. So you're gonna have this gorgeous model with, an
ugly number.
Yeah. But that's what they all had looked at, because I was looking to do a James Dean's 356 that he raced, I think, at Santa Barbara with number 33, and a lot of people don't realize that at that race he actually blew a piston. He burned a piston out, which is why he then went and bought his 550 Spider. That was in May, I think, and he didn't get the Spider till August or something, but he was forbidden to drive because he had been signed to shoot Giant over the summer. But yeah, so I was thinking of doing that car, but his light, I think he had a 53 or 54, so that he had the round lights in the back, and this is a 55 with the teardrop lights in the back. So rivet counters would probably slap me with some noodles if I did that.
I thought I heard Chris's voice in there. Chris, did you have something to say or ask?
For me?
Yeah, I guess I misheard something.
You might have misheard.
Okay, no biggie. Just want to make sure everybody gets their 5 seconds in. Did anybody else have anything they wanted to show and tell? I was gonna, you struck something out of my head, John. I was gonna ask, and then it got knocked out of my head.
I'm sorry.
I got something to tell, actually.
Okay, go ahead, Chris.
This is for Slothead, if he's listening.
He just got in.
On your post on HRW on some of the sprint cars, you're getting lots of information. I did notice that somebody gave you some information on some gears from Slot Car Corner. Just be aware that the 2 gears that they mentioned don't mesh with each other. They mentioned Mr. Slot Car pinions, which are 0.5 module, and Mid-America / Parma crowns, which are 48 pitch. They will make the car go, but you're not going to really like them if you buy them. So there's other ways to get a 48 pitch pinion. You can get one with a 2 mil bore and sleeve it, or there was some talk, I guess, of you potentially switching motors. And if you switch motors either to an FC130 or an FK180, both of those have 2 mil bores, so you'd be able to find 2 mil bore 48 pitch pinions. Done.
All right, thanks, Chris, for helping out Mr. Slothead with his gear choices. It looks like Brian is showing off his new resin printer. Go ahead and talk about that, Brian.
Hey, hi guys. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Despite my best efforts, or because of my best efforts, I managed to stay off the naughty list this year and got a new resin printer for Christmas. In the process right now of printing a Lola T70. It's got about an hour left, so before this is over, I'll have it out to show to you guys. This is the Creality. For those of you who aren't familiar with resin printers, I'm sorry for the poor focus on this tablet. The way this works is this vat of resin here has a clear film on the bottom of it. And the plate pours down, and then it's exposing a 0.05 millimeter layer of resin that then sticks to the build plate. After it does that, the build plate lifts up to release it from the film, lets more resin run in underneath, and then lowers back down. Now I'm printing at 0.05 millimeters, which is the lowest. Now, or worst resolution this machine has. And then what it'll show you on the screen is what's actually being exposed by the screen beneath it. So a little bit different. So that's what's actually being exposed. All those tiny little dots you see are the supports. And obviously you can see the wheel arches on the car. Now the car is actually printed at an angle, kind of standing up like this. Actually, it's like this. And there's several reasons to do that, but for one, so it'll fit on the build plate. So very neat, been doing a few prints with this. Here's one of the Lolas for the 3D proxy I did earlier. This one I'm printing now, I'm doing a little different because I integrated the windscreen and the headlights with it. And as you can see, it's really nice as far as how smooth it is.
It looks fantastic. Can't wait to see it painted up.
Yeah, this is a sky blue resin. Pardon the cookie crumbs. And it's a beautiful color as it is. I'm almost tempted just to clear it, put some accents on it.
There you go.
Looks pretty nice. This is a tiny body. One of the MRRC Sebring chassis fits it perfect, to give you an idea of how small this body actually is. I do have the engine printed already, and I had to do a major amount of grinding on that to get even a slim can motor underneath the thing. So yeah, it's going to be.
Well, Brian, they were small cars.
Right. Well, it's funny because you see this alongside my my Revell Lola T70, and the wheelbase is about the same, but the body itself is quite a bit smaller.
Revell Monogram took a few liberties to get a Sidewinder in that thing.
Oh, well, I can see why. I could probably get a Sidewinder in this, but it's going to have to be a slim can.
Yeah, or like an 030 motor or something, yeah.
Can you give us a comparison shot there, Brian?
Yeah, I was walking back down to the dungeon here to give you an idea here.
We're all getting a little bit dizzy. I was wondering what chassis you're going to put under it. Was there a chassis file that you're already getting ready to go with?
No, they don't really have one, but that give you an idea of the scale difference.
Yeah, that compares to like what the Palmer from the 60s, which was pretty scale accurate, believe it or not.
But what I thought was interesting is the wheelbase is about the same.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So they actually they left the wheelbase about the same.
Yeah.
Body,
Well, there you go. That's more reminiscent of the Aurora kit from the 60s then, because the Aurora kit has about the same wheelbase, but much narrower than the Monogram Rebelle.
Santa brought me that too.
Nice. Is that
That was for my,
was that Scalextric?
now that's a Carrera Corvette. That was one of the other 3D prints.
So you have a filament printer too, right?
I do. That's what I'll be printing my chassis on.
That's what I was thinking. It'd probably be better for the chassis to be filament.
Now this one, I bought this kit. This was the $10 file off of 3D Cults and printed beautifully, came with a chassis. The biggest problem is you can see the nose there. I was trying something. If you see where the big hole is right in the middle toward the front, that's where the top of the guidepost rests on the chassis.
Oh God.
So there's really no way to make this thing a slot car. So my idea was I was going to try and open that up a little bit, and it actually took a little bit more material than I wanted. This one was kind of a test print anyway, so overly concerned about that. But if I decide to build and run this car, I'm gonna have to literally open up that nose to get a guide flag in it.
Yeah, or modify the file somehow.
There's no way. There's I guess I could.
Well, I mean, yeah, give it a higher little roof hood shape there.
It would have to be
wrong, basically.
So
yeah, you'd have to take liberties, just like the slot car companies do.
What about something like a TSRF guide?
Sure, whatever that is.
That's one of those really low ones that just
Right, so there's probably ways to do it.
Yeah, there's ways to do it.
To be honest
You can
with you,
get the Alpha Slotted Alpha 33 chassis will fit under it.
the guidepost was literally right up against the top of that. So the
Yeah.
screw to hold the guide. Oh, let me see what you
Yeah.
got there.
Here it is, same file that you printed.
Yeah, it's all about what kind of guide system you use, how tall the post is. That they don't have to be super tall all the time.
No, the Alpha 33 fits under it. You don't have to change anything.
Did you use the same chassis that came with that file?
This is the same body you printed, yes.
But you didn't print.
I bought this one.
That's not the chassis that came with that body file.
No. This is slotted chassis. For
Okay.
the slotted Alpha 33 will fit under it. I didn't cut anything out of the top.
This is the one that came with it.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
And the front wheels are way too low. I mean, it sits up way, way high.
Yeah, try slotted chassis. It'll fit under there. Yeah,
Yeah.
There. So I actually have a slotted chassis here from a 33.3. So
that's what I've got under this one.
sweet. Well, that's all I got, guys.
Well, thanks for sharing, Brian. Does anybody else have any show and tell they want to get to? All right. And does anybody?
Yeah, I've got one.
All right, Steve, show it off.
How do I flip the screen here?
You should have like a camera icon somewhere. There you go.
Okay. Oh, by the way, here's a Lola you're talking about. I just got it painted today.
Nice.
Yeah, I got this done. And it's nice to see one actually in scale.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, because the Carrera was just so huge. It was a big brick. So that file will be up on Culch 3D next week. So that's nice to have. And that's about it. Other than that, just stuff everywhere.
Nobody here knows how that is. You're the only one with a messy workbench.
Oh my God.
All right. Any other show and tell before we move on?
I don't have anything to show, Greg, but I do. I reached out to a guy, and my problem with my cars and not wanting to do everything. He's actually going to work on building a CAD and a file to combine the chassis for me. So I'll keep you updated and let you know. And then once he gets it done, like I was telling John earlier, all that's going to do is force me to buy a printer next. But hopefully it'll come out, the file will come out good, and then I'll be able to print my own chassis for the cars I need to convert over.
Or you've got a good buddy who'd be happy to print a bunch of chassis up for you.
Hey, that's always an option. There's always an option, because I'm trying not to go down that rabbit hole.
There are many rabbit holes to prevent yourself from falling down. That's good. Good to hear. So yeah, get those SCX bodies you love so dearly onto Scalextric compatible chassis. Awesome. Looking forward to it. That's a great way to segue into the next segment, which is plug me time. Does anybody have anything they want to plug either for themselves or for other people? The slotcarmancave.com site that I mentioned previously, they are going to go brick and mortar when the pandemic situation gets taken care of, and they're bringing on new company and new products to their line. So hopefully we'll be able to talk about their brick and mortar here in the next few months. But it's always good to hear. More brick and mortar is a good thing. Does anybody else have anything they want to plug themselves, products that they love, sites that they love? Otherwise, we'll move along to our special treat for the day. If Garth, you want to try your microphone again? I think he dropped off again. Okay, we'll swing back around to Garth again later. Hearing nobody interjecting with things that they want to plug for themselves or other people, I do have a topic or two that I thought of using. Okay, just making sure I didn't hear any interjections there. A quick topic, give Garth some time to get back on here if he wants to try again, is slot boxes. Dave Kennedy on his Slot Car News official channel did a great video about slot car boxes. And I posted a reply to that because he said, hey, show off your slot car boxes. I showed off my Whitey's slot car box as well as my fishing tackle box, which serves as a fantastic slot car box. Does anybody want to talk about their slot car box? If you race in a club, do you bring stuff with you? What do you bring with you? Anybody? Bueller? I mean, I will go out and get my slot car boxes if none of y'all want to talk about slot car boxes. I'll talk about the tackle box because it's super accessible and super cheap. I remember it's a Plano brand tackle box. And what's really cool about it is that it's like a slot car box. It has a top section that opens up for presumably your baits and whatnot, but it's big enough for a controller and small bottles and stuff. And then it has a lower section, which is basically drawers of little containers like hardware containers, for like nuts and bolts and screws and stuff, except it's meant for tackle, right? It's not in the hardware section, it's in the tackle section. But then you just take out a couple of those hardware containers and put in a couple of little shelves for your slot cars. Keep one of the hardware containers for your motors and gears and whatnot. And you've got a great slot car box, like $20 at any department store, Fred Meyer, Kmart, Walmart, Target, whatever. If they've got a fishing section, check out their tackle boxes and you could probably get something like that. Something similar, yeah, Brian, show that off.
Now, this was our old RC box. The chargers, I mean, this is 20 years old now. This was to decharge batteries.
Yes, very much like that.
4 drawers.
That looks like a plastic version of a Hoffman.
It does. Yeah, a lot like that, except the nice thing about the tackle box is that you can take the parts containers and just use them for storage of little parts, leave that at home and put little shelves in, big enough for 2 or 3, 132nd or 124 slot cars. You know, great little plastic tackle box, great for slot car boxes.
Hard to beat the plastic boxes. They're just so bloody light. I built, I should take a picture one. I built my first slot car box in grade 8 in shop class. I bought, and that was a few years ago. I bought quite a few since. And when we typically race like 3 or 4 classes a night, and I'll typically take 2 or 3 cars per class because I don't like running the same car that everybody else has. So if somebody's running this, I'll put something else on the track. So you get 12 cars and a few bits and pieces in there in a wooden box, and you need help getting in and out of the guy's house with the thing. So the plastic boxes are nice and light, and you can't beat them.
Yeah, that one, by the way, was known as the Phantom, was the model on that. It's a Plano. And Chris, wouldn't slot boxes chiseled out of stone really be weight prohibitive?
Absolutely.
I mean, I love my Whitey slot car box. It's purpose made, which is, it's never a bad thing to have something be purpose made.
Yeah.
And the door's got bottle room, and the controller space is specifically for my controller and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, there's so many options out there. One of the guys in the analog club I race with, he brings a just kind of a flexible like lunch pail bag, just like zipper over, and it's got room enough for his controller and his car, and he's happy with that. Yeah. So whatever you need, and go to Harbor Freight, for crying out loud. They got a bajillion various cases of all kinds of shapes and sizes for super cheap. You don't need to spend a lot of money on a slot car box. That's for darn sure.
Well, Harbor Freight does have some nice wooden ones that are 2 drawers on the bottom and then open top, and then 6 smaller drawers for pieces. They usually, if you get the 20% off, they're about $60.
Yeah, and that's the expensive side.
Yeah. I've got a couple of those that work really well.
Yeah, and then there's like the ones that look like flight cases that have foam inside, and then there's the one that are like for guns and cameras and stuff that you can customize the inside foam and stuff. And then you've got Tupperware like Brian's showing off.
I had one of those camera case looking ones, and it held 22 cars.
Yeah, the big one.
He thought it was a camera case and walked off with it.
Oh no. Yeah, those are great for pretty much any hobby, huh, Brian?
Yeah, this is stackable. I don't remember where we got these, but yeah, this one's full of drones. Very lightweight, but slot car wise, this camera sucks on this tablet.
Focus, there you go.
Very lightweight, but that's 12, 14 inches square. It had just cheap cardboard dividers with it, but that could be a very easy, inexpensive solution as well.
Yeah, lots of great stuff out there. I think the important thing is that people don't say, "Oh, I need a slot car box, therefore I have to go look at slot car, suppliers and slot car specific things." Just go to a craft store, go to a hardware store, go to Harbor Freight or whatever, and look around. Think, what do I want to bring in my slot car box, and find something that houses it. There you go, Mike. Hold on, let me spotlight that.
$10. Harbor Freight.
There you go. Exactly.
Perfect.
Perfect.
And you can spend, if you want to buy like an old school slot car box, you can spend $200, $300, $400 to get one made for you, and they're heavy as hell. And you can go to Dick's Sporting Good in the fishing section and get something for $19.95 that's just as good.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, there's a little bit of the, I don't know, chutzpah or whatever that kind of comes with walking in with a fancy wood slot car box. It's like, oh, that dude's serious, you know, I don't know, bragging rights or something. I'll tell you what, I like my Whitey slot car box, but yeah, I paid like almost $100 for it, and it's just a 6-car 1/32 scale.
Although Greg, a wooden slot car box might be more of a sign of age.
Well,
What are we talking about here? Come on.
look around. There's no one here who's 15. Like, we're not trying to fool anybody.
I'll be right back. I gotta go shave.
What are you trying to say, young?
Good luck with that.
All right. Anybody else want to talk about slot car boxes? I got other topics. Garth, you want to try your microphone again?
Can you hear me now?
Woo! Do you want to do your presentation now?
Yeah, if you can hear me.
Go for it, man. Garth you're all in for a treat. I got a preview of this. And Garth, did you want to, you kind of suggested to me that you're okay with anybody interjecting as necessary. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So if you have more questions about whatever Garth is showing off, just go ahead and interject. Otherwise, pretty much everything you can think of is going to be shown and explained, and it's going to be entertaining. So I'm setting the bar nice and high for you, Garth. How about that?
Thanks a lot.
Go for it.
I got to open the thing up, okay?
Yep.
Garth, while you're doing that, can I ask you a question real quick?
Go ahead.
I noticed the name of your speedway back there.
Yeah,
Would that happen to be St. Clair Shores, Michigan?
it does.
I was born at 13 Mile and Harper behind the Shores Bowling Alley. I lived on Angeline Court.
How about that?
And then from there, we moved to 16 in Harper in the Clinton Township. And I grew up there till I left in 83 for the military. So nice to see a local racetrack, if you will.
Yeah, I live 10 in Harper area.
Awesome. You're going to love this one then.
Yeah, except it's 600 miles away now.
Well, I'm sure there will be lots of memories that he'll rekindle there for you.
Okay,
right.
can you see that?
It's coming up. There we go. Now we see day one.
All right, well, let me do my introduction first.
Yeah,
okay?
take it away.
All right, my name is Garth Frudd, and I live in St. Clair Shores, Michigan, as we just discussed, okay? And give you a little bio on my slot car experience. When I was really young, I had one of the very first HO sets in the country, okay? And I proceeded to destroy it, okay? And the next Christmas, I asked for another one, and I got a AC Gilbert set, okay? I don't know if anybody's ever heard about that, but that was a company that made erector sets, okay? And it was the craziest thing. It had worm gear, you know, pinion on it, and it was just nutty. And after that, I kind of gave up on it, okay? And I started racing in local tracks here in the Detroit area. And, you know, I got pretty involved in it and did a lot of racing in that. And then as I got a little older and discovered girls, I got away from slot cars, okay, until my late 20s. And I got back into it, and this was in the HOG Plus era, late 70s, okay, and I had a big tabletop set up, okay, that me and a friend of mine raced on. And then I ended up moving and changing jobs and got away from the hobby again, got back into the hobby in about 1995 and built a very large HO track, which morphed into a 1/32 track that you guys see behind me right now, okay? And so I'll start the presentation. And it's basically a walkthrough time from when I built the first HO track, and this was built and finished in 1997. Okay, so the first few photos here are kind of a panoramic view of the thing as it's being constructed, okay? So kind of fast through these three, okay? The track was built in modules, okay? 3 table modules, and then underneath the track it had what I call leg modules with rolling feet on them, and then above the track was a light module that was broken into 3 different sections. So I built it, I designed it and built it to be for the positions to be sitting at, okay, which is different than most slot tracks you see. You know, so all of the slot tracks that I've built have been, so you're sitting at them. And this particular track was designed to kind of mimic the old school marionette show thing, okay, like a light box where you looked into it and you saw the show or whatever. In this case, the show was racing slot cars. Okay, so this is the first few things here are the construction of it in my garage. This is modular. This is the left of the track. This is the middle section, right section, and then this is a shot from the end. Okay, showing basically it's 3 tiers. Okay, and at that time it was Tyco track, and I ended up building it completely. I changed the HO to Aurora track, G plus track. Okay, again, this was about 1997. Okay, next shot is a shot from behind, and this shows the back of it, the back of this table thing, and these ended up being sections that were filled in with doors. Okay, so you could take the doors on and off and look, you know, to work on the track or whatever. Okay, next section. This is a little ditty here that was one of the more popular turns. Okay, and I called it Dingle Dell. Okay, which was a homage to the track at Brands Hatch in England. Okay, one of my favorite tracks. And this one, it keeps repeating itself all through the whole set of photos here. So you see this, okay. But it was really kind of cool because you came into it very fast and then you kind of slalom through it like a ski racer, okay. And okay, next photo is a shot on that end of the track looking down the track, okay, right. Fast forward to a couple months later, here's the track finished, okay, and all the modules are together, and once again you see the module. This is like the left module. These leg modules are all exactly the same. They are screwed on with T-nuts, bolts and T-nuts, and each module screws together. So, and I knew that at some point I might end up moving the track. So that's kind of what the module idea was, okay. The light hoods here, they're in 3 modules and they're also screwed on, okay. A little forward here, that's the middle of the track. The other side of the track. Another shot of that side of the track. Okay, fast forward to about 3 years later, okay, I moved the track. It's in a new location, new house. And I got into doing a little bit of landscaping, okay, at that point. This is a track, the right side of the track, okay.
Whoa.
It's in the shot down the track. This kind of shows the, at this point I was going to build a room around the track, okay. And I did a couple of rooms in my, the basement was finished, but I ended up putting this in a room by itself. So it's a slot track room now. And it's, you know, I started to get some wall decorations and things. And this was train scenery that I put in here, okay. And keep in mind, this is, you know, right around the year 2000, okay. And this was an old computer system that I ran TrackMate software with, the DOS version of TrackMate software, if you can believe that, okay. And I had a couple of monitors, okay. And this one you never looked at unless you wanted to crash your car. This one you could look at once in a while.
So Garth, how long was this track?
This track at this point was probably about 250, somewhere around there. It ended up getting to be about 300, as you'll see in the following photos, John, that the size of it. This here, you see these little black things here? These are, they're little speaker connectors. That's where the, at that point, the controllers would plug into it there, okay. Okay, next photo is with the hoods off, you know, I was doing some work to the track and you kind of see what, this was just foam board with train scenery that I glued onto it, okay. You see some of the other things here. And there's the light modules, okay, you can see how there were 3 separate sections. Okay, fast forward now about 5 years or so, the track. I lowered it a little bit by changing the modules or the leg modules here. Okay, and the other thing that's sort of different about this track is this track at that point was 20 feet long and 3 foot on its dimension here. Okay, for marshalling, I guess, and it moves. Okay, it rolls on wheels.
Uh-oh, I think we might have lost Garth.
Not rolling anymore.
It's not rolling at the moment. We still have his screen share though. That's interesting. And he's still
That's
connected.
St. Clair Shores internet.
He's still there. He probably hears us. That might be him trying to rejoin here. Laura, is that you? Is that Garth? Oh, now we lost Garth. Oh, we were doing so well. But wait, there's more. That ain't the end of it. All right, well, while Garth is working out his technical difficulties, and I'm not going to start a whole nother topic, but what do you guys think about his track so far? I mean, wow. I love the light hoods, right? He has the whole thing designed so you just sit in chairs, not stools, but chairs while you're racing, him and his friend. And then he's got those awesome light hoods.
It's a real melding of railway modeling scenery with slot cars.
It does have a lot of similarities with model railways. Yeah.
No cup holders.
Well, we haven't seen the whole story yet, so you never know.
If I'm sitting and racing, I'm drinking and racing.
There's probably somewhere to put cups. I'm gonna bet money that there's somewhere to put cups near the chairs.
Oh, he's not bad.
I got a short one question. I was on YouTube the other day and just surfing slot car videos, looking around, and I ran across this video, and I'm going to need one of our guys here to give us a date on this. And this guy was demonstrating a copper taping tool for slot car tracks. And there was this old guy in the back, I think his name was Luff, going, "I'm sold." So I don't remember the date on this video, but I think it might have been the first time Old Slot Racer ever saw the copper tape machine.
It's pretty old. When do you think that first taping tool was done, Luff?
Oh, I don't know. I can look it up, but the guy that does the taping, he's pretty much buggered up with arthritis. He can hardly move his neck. He can hardly move his hands. And he was taping the track about as fast as he could walk.
Yeah.
That's the first time he'd ever used it.
And that video the first time the taping tool had ever been shown to anybody?
No, we just decided to promote it a bit.
How long had you been doing that before that video?
I don't know, probably a couple of years.
Couple of years.
See, I was under the impression from the video, it was the first time you had ever seen it, because you were kind of like, wow, I'm sold on that. So I guess if you were promoting it, I could see that.
We're just laughing about how fast the guy was putting the tape down.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing to watch him. He literally was just walking around the track, laying that tape down.
And that was the first time he'd ever seen it or touched it.
Yeah. The only thing that would slow him down was clearing the paper backing away. He would have to stop every now and then just to pull it out of the way.
Well, but it usually feeds itself. You don't have to.
Don't have to do that. Yeah, you can just let the tape, the backing tape, just coil up.
Yeah.
He was just doing that because he hated it. Stupid backing tape. Yeah, the tools are pretty cool, and I'll be honest, you pretty much pretty much want one if you're copper taping your track. And they are useful also if you're braiding your track to help deposit your double stick tape, which is the common, the new way of putting braid down on the track. But it's not my biggest seller anymore. You know, it used to be everybody wanted the kits, but now people are happy just to buy the routing strip and the routing guide, because the taping tool, they don't see it as being useful for braid, even though it is. But there's so many, you know, it's been out there long enough that you can pretty much come up with, you can make your own, right, out of some cardboard or some paperboard or whatever. There's 3D printed ones out there that have been out there for years. I got more people wanting the routing strip and the routing guide than I do have.
Yeah, I sold about 200 of those.
Oh, I bet. The last couple of years have changed things a little bit.
Yeah, but I was making 50 at a time because they're a bit of a pain to make.
Yeah,
So
and
by doing 50, it wasn't too bad.
I still have probably 20, 25 or 30 of them from the materials that I got from Jeremy.
Right.
And I don't expect that I'll buy any more material, that I'll have those manufactured, the parts manufactured in order to make those again. If I have people wanting complete kits, I'll probably just 3D print them. Like, I switched over from the router base plates are too expensive to have to have properly manufactured out of Lexan.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm 3D printing them, but I'm doing it. You might have seen the previous video, or I forget if you were there, but I talked about, now I'm doing the base plates 3D printed specifically for whoever is ordering it for their router, so they don't have to drill holes. I just get the specs for the holes and I include that, and then I print it with the holes already there. That also allows me to print custom lane widths, right? So one guy wanted Scalextric lane width, I did it for that.
Yeah.
Carrera lane width, so I did it for that.
I made the base out of Lexan because it's easier to drill. Like, most people don't know how to drill plexiglass. So Lexan
is really easy. Yeah. And I'm still doing the strips and I don't think there's going to be a better solution for the strips or the guide, because the guide or the strips for the Lexan strips are just perfect. They're nice and hard. They bend enough. They drill real easy. They're solid. And then the guide that you just, the extruded polyurethane you stick in the slot, those are perfect. That's what everybody wants, is those two things.
Yeah. The strip, the Lexan actually gets brittle after about 10 years.
Yeah, I always give them the tip sheet that says store them flat.
Yeah.
Does it get more brittle faster if you try to keep it coiled up? I would assume that
it'll take on that curve.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's better to store it straight.
Yeah, and then it breaks if it's been sitting around for 10 or 15 years, it probably just breaks easier.
But it picks up moisture and yeah.
All right, Garth, looks like you're back. Do you want to test your mic real quick?
Can you hear me?
Yes, go for it.
Okay.
Pick up where you left off.
Okay. Sorry about that. I just had a total crash.
No problem.
All right, see if I can find this guy. If Greg hasn't already told you, I'm kind of a Zoom child at this point. I haven't done it very much.
You're doing great.
Okay. You got that one? You see that?
Yep.
Here we are. I think I said that this was the final version of the track, okay, and of the HO track, okay, and you'll see back here. This is the driver's positions, and at this point we wired the thing through this back chase over the top of the room, and the controls are on this side of the room. So you didn't have to walk over the top of cables or anything, okay, as you were sitting in those positions, okay. So I'll go to the next photo. This similar, this was added on. So, you know, like I said, at this point, it was 300 feet of HO track. All right. This is a shot into right side or south side of the track.
Do me a favor and zoom in on that bridge, because I love me some bridges.
Okay, this is actually a an old HO Atlas bridge. Okay, and I don't know if you can see the sign, but we called it this overpass here, the Suzuki Overpass, in homage to the track at Suzuki. Okay, which has used to have a shortened version of this bridge on it way back in the old days, and they got rid of the bridge completely. But you know, they just have a flat bridge going across that section. So, and it's just spray painted flat black, and that's about the size of it. It shows up again on the Carrera version of this track.
Spoilers.
Okay, ready?
Go for it.
There we go. This is looking down the track. Okay, one of my favorite shots. And like I said, this was 20 feet long. Okay, and it was mainly only 20 feet long because the house that I built it for originally, that's all the space I had, so I couldn't go any bigger at that point. Okay.
So, Garth, what were you using as a power source?
18 volt. At this point here, this was about 2005 till about 2012. I was using, and actually right from about 2000, a really old TrackMate power supply, and we were using pretty high performance HO cars, so 18 volts, set on 18 volts. Okay, and that actually it's the same power supply that I use today. It's just a Warhorse TrackMate, 10 amp, 0 to 30 volt supply that's been, I have no reason to get rid of it. It's done such a good job over the years, and but
I gather by the lack of borders, you're heavily into magnets.
You gathered right. Okay, and as we go through the photos here, you'll see more about that. Okay, mainly in the control sections. Okay, all right. So this is that's the north side of the track. All right, and you see the third tier and the second tier, and I got in the habit of naming these turns. Okay, I always really loved the fact that Formula One tracks had a lot of their turns named certain ways. So a lot of the things on the slot track have become named. Okay, and with signs, and either because they reminded me of certain turns or just for the hell of it. Okay, and I liked the name, and I ended up naming one of the turns that for that track. Okay, here we go. Here's the fun. Okay, this was at this point I had to get rid of the HO track because I had decided to go to 132nd. Okay, and I didn't quite know what I wanted to do, so I spent a little time with Andy at Professor Motor. Okay, because he at that time was just on the other side of town from where I'm at. And I settled on Carrera, okay? And I basically tore the HO marionette show track down to its base, okay? And it was only 3 foot wide, so I didn't have enough room for a Carrera, so I added 4 foot sections on top of that base, okay? And if you look down here, you'll see the modules, the what I call the leg modules are still under there. So the base for the HO track is underneath this track. Okay, and this was construction phase of the track, 2012 era. Okay, next photo is the track finished with 2 tiers. Okay, and we raced on that for probably about another little bit, maybe another year or so. Next photo shows the same thing, just a different photo. This is a kind of an interesting photo. This is the back of the track with the track pushed out to the other side of the room. You see the control module over here, right? And this kind of shows how the idea behind the cantilevers started. Okay, and it's just some wood trunnions or stanchions, if you will, and each one has a cantilevered piece of plywood that's bolted onto the trunnion. And, you know, I could at that point slide these up and down because it, you know, this trunnion had this flange on it, so that, and the distance between them was 20 inches. Okay, so every 20 inches there was a stanchion. Okay, and you know, this in this configuration is when I was working, it would allow me to work on the back of the track. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. The next photo. This is a shot of one of the versions of the track control. Okay, and like Chris was saying, we race magnets, so this all comes from, you know, high performance HO stuff where we use a roll control. Okay, you know, and various cars use different versions of that roll control. And then this is a hopped up brake control thing that I learned how to do this from a guy named Tony Porcelli, who I used to buy slot car parts from. He's owns a company called Clot Tech that builds high performance slot cars. And he was a guy that originally worked at Aurora as a kid, and he got the job there. The story goes that he got the job there because he built a magnet car. Okay, and then so he was in the first development of the magnetic cars that they had at Aurora in the very early 1970s. So that's the control module front. It's just a AutoCAD drawing stuck onto a piece of masonite with some rheostats underneath it. Okay, the roll control rheostat is 50 watts, 50 watts, 50 ohms. The brake control is 50 watts, 500 ohms, or I'm sorry, 5,000 ohms. And, you know, the big honking things, okay, because the way we were running power through this thing, this is on our 132nd track, we race with 15 volts because of the magnets, I guess, or just because I'm crazy or something. But, and pretty much that's right from the get-go, it's been 15 volts and haven't changed that one way or another. And so I had to have some really big rheostats in this control to make it work right. There's a shot of it with the controllers and early versions of the Professor motor controller. And the computer was isolated to that side as well. Okay, here's a version of the track that you see this expanded section here. This got a little bit bigger, and the old section is still in it. Okay. Fast forward a little bit. I had this little sign put on there just as a joke. All right. And
and now to Chris's point, it looks like you put borders up now.
yeah, at this point, well, when you race on 15 volts, okay, and we also use pretty hopped up motors in these cars, okay. Pretty much exclusively, I haven't talked about cars, but pretty much we race slotted cars, okay, with 40K motors and a magnet, okay, and silicone tires. And so once you crash one of those babies into down a 20-foot long straightaway into the wall, you learn how to use epoxy pretty well. Okay, so
so do you actually require your drivers to wear helmets as they go around your track?
My friend, there's only two of us, okay, me and a friend of mine that have been doing this for a while, and he probably needs a fire suit too, because I basically build the cars and work on the cars, and I'm a little more careful with them than he is, but we've gotten better over the years. Okay, like I said, this was 2013 era. Okay, so I'll go to the next photo. Back to the track control. Okay, at this time I had in my repertoire, I had access to an engraving machine. So basically, I took the same AutoCAD drawing and dumped it into the engraving machine and engraved a Lamacoid front for my panels. Okay, and that is the way it is today, and I like it. I liked it then. I like it now, and so that's the control module. One on each side. This is for the red track. Okay. All right. Fast forward. maybe around 2015. All right, gee whiz, I can't leave anything alone, so let's put a third tier on the track. Okay, so you can see this area here was torn down, and this is where the climb is going to go, and that's where it's going to come back down. Okay, and you can see the cantilevers. Next photo will show you the back here, and these. If you notice this thing here, this was an extension for the trunnion, okay? And so all the way down the whole track, I put these extensions on. A new cantilever, a little narrower, not as beefy as the first one, okay? So this is, planning the track, and this is a little shot of my Skunk Works shop building and painting the cantilevers for the third tier. Oh, hang on. Go backwards here, okay.
I'm thinking we had another crash. Apparently going forward and backing up is bad for his computer. He did tell me when we were doing some testing earlier this week that it's an older computer. So
I thought that was a view as one of the cars flew off the track.
it keeps getting better, but before we get too much into the whole magnets versus non-magnets thing, do you guys want to hear his story about when he was a kid and going to the races and stuff? And I'm sure he'll tell that story because it definitely helps you understand, why his enjoyment is the way it is, and obviously.
Greg, when you say races, do you mean like real car racing or?
Real racing.
Okay.
And it's obviously, we all have our own ways of enjoying the racing, and some of us are, prefer non-magnet, and some of us prefer magnet, and he prefers magnet. And there's a very real and understandable reason for why that is. So I'm sure we'll get that story when he comes back and at some point during his presentation. And the only other topic that I have is a long-winded one. Yes, Scott, I saw you. So I'm not going to pull my topic out of my hat just yet. So we'll give Garth a few more minutes to come back on. Scott, what did you want to say?
Somewhere in a box, I've got a softball-sized ball of magnets.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure, and I have to keep it in a box because light bends as it passes.
Yeah, I've got quite a ball of magnets myself.
I found a great use for them though, because I bought some of those faux vintage little tin signs, and I used them to stick them up around the track.
Turn them into fridge magnets.
Yeah.
Magnets to the fridges is one of the signatures of one of my friends on the forums. What did you want
I
to
drop a screw where I can't reach it. I put one of the magnets on the end of a long screwdriver to retrieve said screw.
What were you gonna say, Luff?
I put a magnet on the little screwdriver when you take the chassis off a car, and the screws don't stick to the screwdriver.
That's the one thing that I don't like about slotted screws is that they're non-ferrous. So they're always falling to the floor. Even when I'm using my magnetized screwdriver, it's like,
Hey, Greg, Ray here.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
have a question.
Sure.
It might be a good interim question. It was inspired by John's Merry Christmas video from Slot Car Corner and kind of reinforced by what we've been talking about. I guess Garth was saying how his track is set up so that people sit at track level and look at the track. And in his Christmas video, John was talking about the wonderful view you get when you put your head right down to the track and look at the cars. And when I built my track, I have it so it can be set on cinder blocks or on sawhorses at different heights. And it's a really different experience watching the cars and racing at those two different heights, which is it's only about 1.5 feet apart. But you just get such a wonderful view of the cars when they're close to eye level. And I was just wondering what you guys thought about that and what track preferences were. track height preferences were.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say every single person in this chat has at one time or another put their heads down to eye level and watched their cars go. Yeah, you're a liar. I know you're a liar. At some point, every single one of us has done that.
I thought you were going to say every single person has been hit by their car.
Well, maybe some of that too. I still think Scott's lying, but I'll take you at your word. He's never done that. Scott is the one man in this entire chat who's never actually done an eye level look at his slot cars. But pretty much everybody other than Scott has gone down and looked at their cars driving around at eye level. Now, where you set your track for racing purposes is a whole separate thing, because I would not want to race my cars at eye level. I want to be looking mostly down on my cars when I'm racing them, because I want to see the whole track. I don't want to have to worry about perspective when I'm trying to get my stopping point. Go ahead, Scott.
God view.
God view, exactly. God view for racing, human view for the kid inside.
Yeah, because that's especially, I mean, I remember even our daughter doing that when she was small, when we'd set up things on the floor. It's a cool thing to see them go by. It's awesome.
It is awesome. I mean, even with model trains, you lay down on the floor and you just watch the train coming right at you. Same with slot cars.
Well, now I'm going to have to try it.
Apparently, you've been missing out for many, many years.
What is the preferred height of a track?
I always say waist height or lower, if only for your body bending over the track in order to pick up a crashed car. Because if it's higher than your waist, you can't bend as far and reach as far as you could if it's waist height or lower. Bob's track is too low. It's like you can't lean over without falling over, because you've got nothing to brace against. It's like at your knees, so you end up.
But that's a really good point, Russell, because if you're at a commercial track, for example, and you're doing serious racing, are there regulations as far as track height and seating height or standing height?
Ooh, that's a good question, Chris. I don't do commercial racing.
There's no official track height. Generally around knee level for most commercial tracks. And a lot of commercial tracks, especially in Europe, have raised drivers platforms. So you go up 3 or 4 stairs to a raised driver platform, so you can see the track that much better.
So to Scott's point, you want as much of a God view as possible.
Well, you certainly get a better perspective of looking down at the corners as you're approaching the corners. So it makes it a little bit easier to drive quickly and consistently. But there's no, I mean, it's nice to have a raised track. So, to Greg's point, so you don't have to, get down on your hands and knees to put the cars back on the track and stuff like that. But, there's no official rule.
It's usually the cup holder that's responsible for people on their hands and knees.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about a commercial track, or even a lot of when it's a club track, if it's a fairly sizable club, then you've got marshals around. So the drivers aren't having to marshal their cars like in smaller clubs or home tracks. So you've got marshals sitting on stools or chairs or whatever, right? So that they can just go boop, boop, and put the car back on.
This was a.
So I don't know who that is. I'll mute Mike there. But yeah, so it depends on what the track is being used for. If it's in your home and you're having to marshal your own cars all the time, then just below waist height, so you can bend your waist over it in order to get the biggest amount of reach. But off the floor, so that you're not having to bend your old back to pick up cars off the floor.
And also, if you're doing scenery as well, you want it sort of high enough so you could also enjoy the ambience of what you're building.
Yeah, and reach over scenery, because a lot of times you'll have a high track with scenery all over the place, and you're smashing into scenery to try to get your car off the track. That's always.
Yeah, when I see some of those slot mods tracks, it looks like you could actually take out some scenery just putting your track on sometimes, or your car on the track sometimes.
Maybe I've never seen a slot mods track with a part of it not there. So maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
Looks like Garth is back. Garth, do you want to pick up where you left off? You just muted yourself from being unmuted.
Can you hear me?
There you go. Go for it.
All right. I'm having a little trouble here with this.
We understand. Like I told the guys earlier that it's an older computer, so you know it'll happen.
Yeah.
We'll make it through.
All right, bear with me just a second here, okay? I'll try to get back to where we were.
I kind of hinted at them that the reason that you love your magnet racing, there's a specific reason why you love that, but I'll leave that up to you if you want to tackle that now or wait till later.
You mean going really damn fast with your hair on fire?
The story you told me about.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got you. Okay. Let's see if I can get back to where we were.
Looks like Garth may have experience with hair on fire.
Too much.
Thanks for that. Okay, I think this is where we were, so let's try this one.
What are you laughing at, John?
Not you.
He
Sorry.
bothered the guy.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. We're gonna have you show that off later, Russ.
Yeah, I
Okay,
will.
can you see this?
Yep, we see 132nd level 3 under construction.
Level 3 under construction. Okay, here we go. And next one, this is the other side of it, just looking into it. Okay. This is, planning the track over the top of it. Okay. And once again, when I do tracks, I have AutoCAD. So I use AutoCAD, from the top kind of, and then just, it never really works out right exactly, but, so I start out with, okay, maybe this will work kind of plan, So here we go. This is the other end of the track, or the south side of the track. And this is what becomes the corkscrew, okay, which is the drop from tier 3 to tier 2, okay. That shows it being, it's not quite connected yet, okay. You can still see this section here, which was the old tier 2 section. All right, go a little bit farther. Now we got the wood connected in there, and it's from level 3 down to level 2. Shot from the other side.
Is that increasing radius as it looks?
Yes, it is. Okay, it starts out real radius 1, okay, and then turns into radius 3 in, halfway through, and then the exit, it's radius 3. So it's way cool. Okay, you know what I mean? I love the track, the corkscrew at Laguna Seca, and I love this damn thing, and it's still there, and it's still my favorite spot. Okay, so this is level 3 down to level 2, and this front section here is level 2 that's going up to level 3. Okay, so you see that as well. Next shot is, this shows the severity of the corkscrew here. Okay, the way it twists around. Okay, and it's a lot of fun, basically. That's the wood part of it being finished and painted. Okay, keep in mind this was about 5-6 years ago. Track is done and getting installed here. All right, that's with the track on it. Okay, we're racing on it at this point. Okay, got some guardrails on it. This is a shot looking down inside the corkscrew. This is the south side of the track. Okay, this being the south side of the track, that's the north side of the track. All right, next shot. This shot is significance in, see the candy canes, the red and white FIA curbing, and if you notice, you'll see them everywhere. There's a radius 1 turn. Okay, so they provide a visual because of the long straightaways and then the turn, you coming into a turns, it gives you a visual, especially for somebody who hasn't raced on the track before, it gives you a visual clue at where you better start slowing down or you're going to be in real trouble. So everywhere there's a radius 1 turn, there's a red and white curving. Okay. Next photo is the track. This is probably at night, and I have the track lights on underneath. There's underneath the second tier, there's a set of lights. Okay, and it shows that up. Here we go. About a year later, and you know, I can't leave it alone. So this is Dingle Dell 2. Okay, which is once again another one of these slalom kind of things. Okay, being constructed. That's not the final version, but the version a week before the final version. Okay, and here we go, and you can see this little ditty here was that section I just showed you backward. Look, go back. That's so I made it a little bit longer about a week later. Okay. Next shot, okay, is the other end of the track, okay, where this originally was just a corkscrew down here underneath this track, and it's turned into a thing that I call Donnie Dell, which is my friend's name is Donnie. So he's got his own complex, okay. All right. This is a little bit, maybe a year later, okay, 2016 or so. And my friend complained that he hated the brown color, so I started painting it green. And it's been green ever since, okay. That's the other end of the track. You can see that this got a little bit bigger at that point. Okay, this is probably the final version of that version of the track. All right, and you can see the different complexes down here and these here. We'll fast forward a little bit. Okay, here's the good part of the track. This is the track. I just took these photos. Okay, so this is the track as it is today. It's Carrera, 250 feet down the center line. Okay, down the white center line. You know, obviously 2 tracks. It's got the 10 amp power supply, run at 15 volts. Okay, and new to the track is if you notice the amount of lights here on the other versions of the track, only 5 lights here. So 2 years ago, I tore the room apart a little bit and added 5 feet onto the track. So that's how it got into and then this year, this is a new complex. And there's some new complexes down here and 2 new straightaways. So that's where it jumped from about 200 feet to 250 feet.
So Garth, how many power taps do you have in your track?
Okay, I counted them up yesterday. I have one that's a Garth special and 15 Professor Motor versions of the track. You know, Professor Motor makes a Carrera version that they stick wires on for you to use as a power track. So every straightaway, there's 10 straightaways. Every straightaway has one, and then there's 5 additional ones that are either on straightaways or close to curves. Okay.
And the other question I have is which direction do you race in?
We visually here.
Yeah.
Okay, this would be the direction we race in. Okay. So you've got, you know, and it's hard for me to. I'll try to elaborate on it a little bit. Okay, I have a little section at the end here that shows the actual curves, and I'll show you which way that you go through the curves. Okay, so this is standing on a milk crate from the south to the north. Okay, next photo is standing on the floor south to north. Okay, this photo is on the north side, standing on a crate looking to the south side. Standing on the floor looking from north to south. Okay, this is sitting at the left driver's position, looking left. Okay, so you're looking into the north. This is same driver position, left, looking to the right. Okay, this next one is the right driver's position, looking to the left. Next is the right driver position, looking to the right. So that gives you kind of. It really doesn't give you the view of what you're looking at. So it's very similar to once again, we use seated positions. So it's a little different in that you're not standing at the track. Okay, here's a helicopter shot down into the north section, okay? And this is what's called Dingle Dell 3. And too bad Dennis is not in this because we got one for him back in the corner here. We got what's called the Juke Sky Sweep, which was at Kaolomi. And I know Dennis grew up near the track, another one of my favorite tracks. But so this is Dingle Dell 3, and then this section here is, you notice that a lot of these are radius ones, and then a lot of other radiuses. This is the largest radius on the track. It's this sweep from here to there is radius 4, Carrera radius 4, and it's the only section I ever had power problems in. Okay, and I have a story about that, but that's for a later day. Let's keep going here so before I crash again. Okay, this is the south side looking down inside the track. Here's the corkscrew up here. All right, this is a newer section of the track. This is the drop from 3 to 2. That's the rise.
No. No. That's the rise from 2 to 3. It looks like we'll be waiting for him to come back here in the next few minutes.
Like the old dial-up days.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like I have to put a quarter in somewhere.
Oh,
He's
2,400 baud.
He's asking too much of that old computer. It's like Windows 2000 or Windows.
Hey, nice track.
What has he got though? A Hoffman computer?
I forget what. It's not Windows 10, that's for sure. It's an older computer, so he's probably just pushing the limits a little bit.
Here I thought Montana was the only place with smoke signal powered ISPs.
Hey, Russ,
That's cold-blooded.
I have to keep pedaling mine.
Let's give Russ a minute here to show off that car he was showing earlier.
Oh, no problem.
We'll get Garth back on as soon as he pops in.
Okay, guys.
Where's my
Tom
video?
Jones is the new leader.
Thanks.
So tell us what you got there, Russ.
Right. These are 1957. Hang on. Can you guys see this?
Are you going to share?
If you want me to.
It's up to you. Either you screen share or hold it up in front of the camera.
Share unless you're coming out of the closet. Otherwise, we don't care.
Ah,
Now we see your desktop.
yeah.
They say perfection doesn't exist, but that isn't quite true.
I see a racing stand.
Yeah, there's this Scully Street dude.
Yeah, that's his desktop.
Fastest lap for Tom Jones.
You need to either hold up the car in front of the camera or open the picture before you share, and then share the picture.
I'm going to show you the car.
Okay, go ahead.
Fastest lap for Tom Jones.
So these are 1957 Maserati 250Fs. And Bill Zambora back east on the East Coast did the paint. Dennis did the mechanical and the chassis paint on the restoration. So
Flat for Tom Jones.
they're absolutely beautiful. I mean,
Flat for Tom Jones.
Now, Russell, do they work? Have you tried them?
yes. And if you see the guide there, the gimbal rotates.
Oh, wow.
So does it actually goes around your track?
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's amazing. That's one.
Oh,
Sweet.
That's so cool that they run around your track.
Oh, yeah. And I looked for cars for a long time of the tin plate style. I finally found these two that needed work, and I think I paid on an auction 115 bucks. I've got 700 in them now. And I have never seen a set that's either in new condition or that's in great condition. These are unbelievable good. They're glass. I mean, you look at these things and they're just phenomenal. And, you know, Dennis is amazing for the kind of work he can do. And I know he's on here all the time, but damn.
Samson Classics. No, just hold it again. We saw it for a second there. Hold it up. A little higher. There we go. Samson Classics, slot car products. The difference is in the details. SamsonClassics.com.
Nice.
So if you're ever going to have anything like this done, he's your man. I'm telling you.
Those look
And
fantastic.
yeah, and if I would have known of Dennis prior to sending him to Bill on the East Coast, I would have done that. My cars went to the East Coast, and although they're very nice, it was 2 years to get them back.
Wow. I didn't realize it had been that long.
Yeah, and he told me, he goes, I'm not fast, but I'm good. And that's true. So I have no complaints. It's just took a while.
Yeah.
And I love them. They are absolutely phenomenal. Now, I have a question when Garth is back on. I'd like to know the thickness of the wood he's using that he lays his track on when he adds the pieces. And
A slothead was asking what the lap times he was getting on those tracks were.
well, yeah, that's one. And the other question would be when him and his buddy are racing, how do you marshal it? Do you cut power to the track and then marshal it and then restart, or just kind of curious on that?
No, that's a
So
good
I'll
question.
ask him when he gets back on. If I
Yeah.
forget, you guys help me.
That's a good question. I'm going to go out on a limb and suggest I'm going to put my money down on gentleman's track call. One guy comes off, both of them just let go and wait until they put the cars back on before they start up again. But yeah, that's a good question. What do you got, Petrucci?
But I'm not going to stay long. I've just come to wish you a happy new year. Hope 2021 going to be a good year for us so we can get racing.
Knock wood.
I built the car. I don't want some out of my camera.
Oh,
Can you see the car?
you're going to have to hold it up. There you go. Give me a sec. Let me spotlight you. Is that the one you put together?
Yeah, I got the halo on it and everything.
Hold it up in front of your face. There you go. Very nice. Is that which one was that? The NSR or the slotted?
No, it's a Polo
car.
car.
Yeah.
All good to put together, the little man and everything inside. And I've done it.
Good job. Put it on the track yet?
No, not yet. I can't get to my track at the moment. I've
Oh,
got a
no.
lot of stuff in the way, but there you go. It's there.
Good.
Oh, the wind fell off. Anyway, I'm going to go to bed now. It's
It's a bit late.
well,
over
1:30 in the morning, yeah.
there. Yeah. Have a
I
good
just wanted
night.
to wish you all happy new year and hope we get back to racing and have a good time.
Yep. Happy New Year.
Yeah, happy
Hey,
new year.
happy
to
new
you.
year,
All right,
Put-
all.
Bye-bye.
Right.
Oh, here's Garth. Hold on a sec. Got the waiting room to keep the malcontents out.
Greg, I got a couple of newbies looking over the shoulder tonight, so be
Oh.
impressive.
Awesome. Be impressive. Yeah. We've already put that bar on. We've already put that requirement on to Garth. He's here to impress everybody.
All right, that works. Whatever it takes. Hey, whose track was that? When I walked in just a few minutes ago, someone had a track that was up that said it was in St. Clair Shores.
That's Garth. Keep watching. He's gonna.
Oh, hey, Garth.
He-
You're on the other side of the state. We're over in Kalamazoo, Michigan area. So
Garth's been doing a really cool presentation, so you're gonna have to watch the recording to catch up on the stuff you missed. But he's gonna pick
All right.
up where he left off now. Take it away, Garth.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep, go for it.
All right. Sorry
I'm going
about
to mute so I'm not rude.
That's okay, Garth. We understand. Okay, well, now I'm not understanding anymore, so hurry it up.
Okay, I'm gonna try to get back to where I was.
You have to
Okay.
reboot your whole computer when that happens?
Yeah, I'm having,
Yeah. We figure you're probably asking a little bit too much of that older computer.
yeah, I went through this a few times. Remember, we did it the other day, and
Yeah.
it seemed fine, but, it sucks now, so.
Yeah.
Let me get back to where
Maybe
we-
turn off your video camera while you're sharing.
I think it's something even worse than that, so,
Okay, well, do whatever you can. We'll come back to you.
okay.
I feel like I'm watching one of those old serials from like the 30s and 40s, that like on a cliff.
Episode 3.
Yeah. Will he make it? Yeah.
Coming soon.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, here we go.
Right, this was the north side of the track, okay? This is the south, this is the south side. I think this is where we crashed here, okay? This shows the rise, the drop from,
Hey, Garth, I don't see your screen yet.
Yeah, we're still waiting for the share to happen.
really?
It says Garth has started screen sharing, but we don't see the share yet.
Okay. Wow.
I mean, I'm going to stop your video here. Let's see. Stop.
This is what the track looks like when the lights are out.
Okay. Garth shows you're sharing. Let me try something here. Garth, I'm going to stop your share. And oh, it's not even giving me that. There we go. Okay. So I have your video turned off. Hopefully that'll help your computer not overtax itself. Try starting the share again. You should still be able to talk though. I should still be able to hear you.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, can you see that?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Give it time. I think that's probably enough time. Well, we might have to see part 3 of Garth's track evolution later. Yeah, for some reason it's not coming through. Go ahead and stop the share and tell them your story about your childhood, watching the racing that you told me.
Okay, we were talking about the track in general, okay, and kind of the idea behind it is, long straightaways, going really fast with your hair on fire, and then slamming on the brakes and going around a corner, okay? And the story that I was telling Greg was the first time I went to a Formula One race was at Long Beach in 1981. And I was sitting at the Queen's Hairpin, which was quite the experience, okay? And in those days, you could walk just about everywhere, anywhere on the track. And I got up out of the grandstand and I walked around the outside of the turn and walked down Shoreline, what was called Shoreline Drive back in those days, okay? Right along the water, okay? And it was really an interesting experience because it's a spot where the cars are going 200 miles an hour. And as you're walking down it, okay, they're braking down to 50 or 60 to go around the hairpin. And the experience of it was really quite exhilarating because as you were walking, the cars would exponentially drop in speed, okay? And I remember saying to myself, Jesus Christ, this is what I want to do. And so that was kind of the evolution of how the slot track, this particular version of the slot track ended up. Okay. Did you hear that okay, Greg?
Yeah, came through just fine.
You want to try the share again, or?
Yeah, go ahead and give it a try. Computer seems to be doing its thing. Let's see what happens. There we go. All right.
Got it?
Yep, go for it.
Okay, this is the north side. Okay, I'm gonna try to go through this fast. South side, okay, of the track, looking into it, okay. This is what I wanted to show you. This is an AutoCAD drawing that I made that basically shows you sections of the track. Let's see if I can get this to go a little bit. It's got all the names on it, okay, and this, somebody had asked about, you know, the radiuses on the turns, okay, and you see this one here is fast in, slow right in, fast out, okay. These are actually radius 4s right here, radius 3 out. This is the keyhole, all radius 1s, radius 2s out. This is a whole series of different ones, slow in, fast out. This is slow in, slow through, okay. This one here is new this year. This is the R4 version, okay. These are all the turns that are on the north side of the track. The south side of the track has these turns, okay. And again, it's all AutoCAD stuff. This is the big turn that's on the south side that is on level 1. It's radius 3 the whole way through. This one is on a little bit of a rise, okay. You know, it's kind of a rhythm sort of thing. You come in really hot down a long straightaway and rhythm through the section. This is one of the hairpins. This is on a rise again, okay. And you'll see the names of the tracks there. You know, rhythm through, fast out, okay. And here's the Corkscrews version, okay. And you come in really slow and then you go through kind of fast and then accelerate fast. Next photo is the driver's positions, okay. I want to take a photo of that. And this year we decided to get a little luxurious with the seating, and I bought a few chairs, okay. And so we sit across from the track, and each driver has their own driver's station with a controller on it, okay. Next photo is the power. Somebody asked me about power. This is the computer that runs the TrackMate software. And this is the old TrackMate power supply, okay. 10 amp, 30 volts. You can see it's set right on 15 volts. It's been a war horse all along, okay. This is a shot of the video monitor, okay. And that's about it, Greg. I think that pretty much takes care of it. So
Well,
we got through that anyway.
We did have a couple of questions.
Okay, go ahead. Let me get out of this thing, okay. Get out of the share.
Yeah, click stop share. If you want to turn your camera back on, otherwise don't turn it on if you might be sharing again. Russ wanted to know what thickness of wood you were using for your tiers of tracks.
You mean what the track sits on? You mean?
Yeah.
The track, the actually, it's just inexpensive floor underlayment, thin, you know, Lewin mahogany, crappy. I wish it was better stuff. Okay, and you know the next version of the track, okay, is going to be as crazy as it looks now. Only it's going to be all made out of aluminum, and it's going to be, you know, as you can see, I get just as much thrill out of goofing around with the track as I do racing. So, and that's kind of why it's a plastic track, because I can change it around at will, you know, every year. We race on the track from November till March every year. So, like I told Greg earlier, it's kind of a winter hobby for us, okay? And then we get to springtime and we stop doing it. We cover the track up. So every fall, okay, or late fall, I get to rediscover slot racing all again because I've forgotten everything at that point. So, but the next one's going to be all constructed out of aluminum extrusions, and so I can move the track up and down and back and forth. But so that was the answer to the wood. It's thin underlayment plywood, but if I had it to do over again, and I will, okay, it'll be a little bit thicker. Okay. So
the main reason it can be so thin is because you've got those supports on every 20 inches, so it can be pretty thin stuff.
Yeah, there was some thought that went into it. Didn't just, you know, fall off a beer truck or anything. You know, it's in the whole track is inexpensive, everyday stuff you can buy, at Home Depot, you know what I mean? So that's kind of how it was done, and how every time it was updated was, it was minimum amount of money spent on it, and overthinking, as Greg accused me of. And so I'm great at overthinking things.
I mean, if it's all where your enjoyment is, like you said,
Yeah.
your enjoyment is changing the track, and like you said, you've already got plans for the next change. And I'm sure this question will require multiple answers, but multiple people were wondering what kind of lap times we were talking about. So, what kind of laps are you getting for your HO cars? What kind of laps are you getting for your Carrera?
There's a kind of interesting, and like I said, there's just two of us. There's me and my really good friend from high school. And he hasn't seen the track this year yet, so I've kept it from him. Okay, so if he watches this video, it'll be the first time he's seen it, because when I do changes, I like for it to be a surprise when he hits the door. So, and I've done very little in the COVID thing here, and I think we're gonna move the slot car season forward a couple, until probably end of spring here and start. So I'm kind of staying away from the track, but to date, with the new 250-foot sections, the fastest time that I've done, and I haven't really tried to do a real fast time, is about mid 15 seconds, something 15.5, around in that area. Okay, and driving like without being a crazy lunatic, okay, probably in the 18-second range. Okay, so I imagine we will carve the hell out of that by the time we start racing on it and get it down into the 14 range, maybe even 13.
That's pretty fast for a 250-foot.
Yeah. Well, once again, it's like Chris was talking about earlier. I'm a kind of a reformed HO guy, and I had HO cars that went probably faster than that. Okay, but the problem with the HO cars for me was I could not see. What we do is we build two cars identical, okay, and I can do that, okay, really easily with the 132nd car slot in, okay. But the HO cars, I had a hell of a time trying to build two cars that were actually identical from a speed and driving standpoint. So that's kind of why I made the change, more or less, okay. And not only that, but the plethora of 132nd stuff out there. I mean, HO stuff, I used to buy parts from three guys, a West Coast guy and two East Coast guys. And there was a local guy that, I bought some stuff from, but for the most part, it's slotted. When I decided to go 132nd, I spent a lot of time at Professor Motor, because again, like I said, at that time, he was in close, just on the other side of town for me. And so he influenced me a lot. And I got on his website one day and I looked at what brand of car, and keep in mind at this point, I didn't know a damn thing about 132nd cars. And this was 2012-ish era. And I decided on slot.it for no reason other than that he had the most parts available for it. Okay. And that turned out to be a wise decision for me, because we'll buy, typically one of the cars that we race is a slot.it car that has a change in and the fastest, easiest cars to drive seem to be the Sidewinder type cars. So if it doesn't have a Sidewinder pod in it, it'll get one in there. And then there's a lot to tuning the magnet and the tires. So it's a combination of the motor pod heights, okay, and they come in 3 different sizes, and in combination with the tire diameters, okay, and the type of wheels, and each car is a little bit different, some longer, slower wheel. It seems to be I think the fastest lap time on the track previous to this year was a Ford GT, okay, with a 40K motor. And
it makes
shorter wheelbase cars seem to be a little bit.
You can't go wrong picking slot.it as just kind of a brand to stick with. If you were to say pick a brand and stick with that brand,
Oh,
Spot On gives you a big variety of cars and a big variety of parts. You don't have to worry about diameters and things.
Ask him about
variety of parts and cars, and I'm scared to death of, you know, to get my wallet out for NSR stuff and thunder slots and all the other stuff, because I'll end up with, you know, 3 or 4, you know, building 3 or 4 different types of cars. And, you know, although I will tell you, to get away from the magnet thing, okay, I'm really intrigued by these Formula One spec cars that they're coming out with, okay, the NSR ones and the new Bullet car ones. So I might go that way, okay, because you know, at heart, I'm a Formula One guy. I love Formula One. And so we can have a Formula One, and I've always shied away from the Formula One cars because with the magnets, we drive so damn fast that although we've gotten where we don't crash near as much as in the early days of this, the types of Formula One cars that I've seen previous, we would just shred. Okay, so that's, I've kept away from those, you know. And, any other questions?
Yeah, Russ, what were you going to ask?
About the stop and start and racing.
So if somebody crashes.
Yes. So Garth, when you and your buddy are racing, I'm assuming you guys do a timed race probably, or a number of laps. When one of you crashes, do you cut power to the track, keep going? How do you do it at your house?
Well, we've gotten kind of, you know, podgy in our old age. Okay, we used to, in the HO version, we used to, we would stop, okay, because there's only 2 of us, and you know, we didn't need a lot of marshalling or anything. We would stop the track, and the guy that crashed, the guy that did not crash would get 1 straightaway before he had to stop. Okay, and in the 130 seconds, we just basically stop. Okay, and to tell you the truth, okay, one of the reasons why I'm on this forum, okay, is I want to investigate more about how to run a race, okay, and what different people do for running races. So it's a good question for me. But a lot of what we do is, I guess you would say, it would be qualifying with practice, okay, where we, you know, try to keep the 2 cars together at some point and see who wins. My friend who I race with is faster than me because he's scarier than me. So he usually has a track record, okay, but I'm the one with the big bottles of epoxy and stuff. So, you know, and he contributes by paying big money for the cars and so on and so forth. And like I said, I told Greg earlier in the little thing that we did a couple days ago that we kind of race with one design in mind, kind of like an IROC thing. Okay, I used to race one design sailboats where, you know, every boat in the fleet would be exactly the same. Okay, and that's what we do with 2 cars. We build 2 cars exactly the same, and it's amazing to me how they are exactly the same. Okay, given the, you know, the fact that it's a slot car. So we never have any arguments or anything about who's faster or slower as far as the car itself goes. It's obviously, you know, he ends up with the track record all the time because he'll take it right out to the limit, okay, and, you know, beat the car into the wall. I won't beat a car into the wall and spray it too much. Okay.
He drives the cars like they're not his, is what you're saying.
And you know, the nature of the type of racing that we're doing, okay, you know, it's exactly what I described, okay. It's 25 feet of bitch and Camaro fast, followed by slam on the brakes and go around some type of a turn or a turn complex, okay, and you know, either really fast single turn or a slalom type thing, and then you know, around that and then back down another long straightaway. So it's, you know, the speed aspect, I think, is probably the thing that attracts it. You know, I got in the habit of doing it back in the 70s with those G plus cars on the HO tracks, you know, and just haven't broken it. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing your history and your track evolution and plans for future track. We certainly look forward to seeing that at some later date. Does anybody have any additional questions for Garth before we?
I probably missed it, Garth. Where are you located?
St. Clair Shores, Michigan, which is a Detroit suburb, northern eastern Detroit suburb.
Thank you.
Right.
It looks like Brian is ready to show off that print that he had going. Let me spotlight that. Go ahead and tell us what you got there, Brian.
Yep, there it is. I just took it out of the wash. So this is straight off the printer, Lola T70. Now I said this one, I incorporated the headlight lenses and the windshield into it, whereas the other one did not. Overall looks terrific. And for you guys not familiar with these supports break off so easy, it's ridiculous.
Show us.
They off.
You probably do it with your thumb right there.
Yeah, but I'm doing it one-handed right now, so it's just a little difficult. They do come off really easy. Yeah. Now there was one minor failure on this print though, and this is my first, and that's this area right here. That is supposed to be one of the NASA style air ducts, and it must not have been supported, and it did not print correctly. It printed as an open square. So let me grab the other one.
I mean, that can happen for a variety of reasons, but if your previous print included that.
Yeah, but now I re-sliced it. See, it's supposed to be that little duck like that.
Oh, if that was pointing down.
Well, it's the same orientation I printed the other one, so I'm not sure what happened there. But I can live with that.
Oh yeah, okay, that's the direction I was thinking. Yeah, so you probably didn't have supports there.
It actually hung this way. If you look, there are no supports there because I haven't taken any supports off. So that's the one thing about this, the resin printing. You got to get in tune with what you're doing and know where you need supports. You know, places to pay attention, you know, around these corners on the wheel wells here. You need to make sure those are supported, sharp corners. But I mean, overall, 6 hours on that printer. Any flaws you see in that are in the model, not in the print.
Yep. Awesome. Good stuff. That's white resin, right? Not the blue stuff that you had earlier?
Yeah, it's some white I picked up the other day. I thought I'd give it a try.
Do you use water washable or standard?
No, it's just standard. I'm using denatured alcohol for my wash. Interesting. This is the same body. Like you said, I included the headlight lenses and the windshield in this one. In the original mold, they had the second mirror that you can see on this particular car protrudes through the windscreen, which it does on the original. But on the original model, they had it on there without the windscreen. So there was no way to put the windscreen on it with the mirror on it. So I clipped the mirror off of this one to start fitting a windscreen. And then the mirror actually sits like right here. And I still have it, so I can glue it back on, but I literally had to snip it off because it was attached right here on the model.
And now you're going to stick it to the windscreen.
Yeah, now I'll have to glue it to the windscreen. Well, on this one, I made it part of it. And I've seen pictures of this car where they didn't have clear windscreens. Some of these guys painted those windscreens were black. I guess they're fairly low. They actually look over the top of it to a degree. John's sitting there shaking his head. No, I'll find the pictures and prove you wrong, Mr. Kent.
No, I'm not doubting that you have the photos. I just can't imagine somebody not wanting to see better if you're driving a race car like that.
But if you're looking over it all the time, what's the point? It's serving only to deflect the wind, not for you to look through it.
I would certainly like to see a picture of a Lola T70 with a non-clear windscreen.
All right, I will go look.
Challenge accepted.
I've yet to see that as well myself.
while he's looking for that, you guys may not find this all that interesting.
Oh, well, then don't bother.
Okay. This is a chassis that I did recently for a guy in Italy.
All right. That is I can't understand that.
Well, I'm not.
Is that 124th, Chris?
Yes, this is a lot of sort of vintagey type racing going on in Italy these days. And this would be probably about a 1969 copy of a pro car. It's I won't explain to you completely what it does, but it's called a plumber. Everything's hinged off of the front guide tongue.
And you can see that it's for Italy with the pasta down the sides too. That
There
helps.
you go.
That's what it was confusing me. All right, I mean, tell us whatever you want to tell us, because I can see lots of hinges, but I still don't understand how it works.
So so it's got independent front rotating wheels then?
Yes. Well, yes, but the front wheels they don't even touch. They do nothing. They're just, you have to have them. That's nowadays in open car, in wing car racing, you don't have tires. You have little stickers that look like tires that you put on the outside of the clear plastic body to go, there you go, there's my tire. So, these won't touch.
Okay.
But
Yeah, 'cause I noticed it looks like the front axle has a bit of a bow in it.
Yeah, just a funky thing to keep the wheels off the track. Is my cursor going here? Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. There's two little brass tubes along here, one there and one there.
Okay.
And then this piano wire comes out of the tube and runs along the length. So this whole pan system flexes up from the back on these two little hinges here, but all of the weight is on the front end, on the nose. There is a bit of a drop arm. This is a bit of an ISO chassis as well, so it flexes. There's hinges here, 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 and here, so the side pans flip up and down a little tiny bit, and they're controlled with these rails on up stops and down stops and stuff like that.
Wow.
So Chris, that sort of stop in down the center of the pan of the chassis with the sort of hook on the front axle.
Yeah.
Does that rotate or is it?
No. It goes along and then the hook goes over the axle, and this just limits the downward motion of the whole front of the chassis.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I'll do one for Garth here if we're still going.
Yeah, we got 5 minutes.
One more. How do I get you guys out of there while I want to get this picture up?
Oh, just reduce the window and then go to your desktop.
No. I'm always worried about losing whatever I'm going to lose here. So this is for Garth.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. A slotted.
I've only ever built one magnet car in my whole life, and this is it.
Two magnets.
Just okay.
This I dare say would beat the 15-second barrier. The whole deal with magnet cars, as you know, if you've ever run your car without the body on, they go much faster because you're eliminating all that weight. So this weighs 53 grams as it is, and it runs with a Lexan body. I was going to fabricate the center part for all the magnets, but actually the slotted pod, because it had the magnet pockets in, when I took all the bits and pieces to fabricate a center section motor pod, it weighed more than the silly little plastic thing. So this has a modified Pro Slot motor in it. It's got International Group 15 arm. It probably does 90,000 RPM. and it has three slotted heavy duty magnets in it. And I ran it for about a lap and mailed it off. And that was
Well,
it.
everything that we see in that picture is 53 grams.
Yes, and about 61 with the body on.
I was gonna say about 60 with the body.
Well, I used all the slotted magnesium rims. The front end, I really used wire instead of anything for a guide tongue. I didn't put pans. There's little tubes with retainers that go into these little square channels. So these little things sort of vibrate around in the squares. So you get a little bit of body movement to isolate vibrations and stuff. But it was just basically, the rationale was there's a bunch of guys at Mini Grid who race with magnets, and I don't race with magnets, and I'm not going to race with magnets. And they always said, you know, you're afraid to build a magnet car. So this was basically an FU car, and they don't bother me anymore.
Nothing like a little motivation.
Well, it was just, it's just a piece of wire. It took me like no time at all to build. And you drive, I took that around Mini Grid at like 15 volts, which is fairly tight. And with the magnets that are on and the lightweight, I just basically pinned it and watched it go around the whole thing.
So it's got two magnets, Chris? I can see one. Where's the other one?
No, there's another pocket just in here.
Oh.
One stuck in here. Actually, I may have taken one out because it was too stupid. So I could still put another one in the front.
Yeah, there's one under the axle and then one right before in front of the motor.
There's one there, and then I think I took this one out because it was just, it was like too stupid.
Did you measure the downforce?
No, well, no, it's probably, well, with that, probably 150, probably. All in, probably about 600 because there's not much clearance on it.
I was gonna say each of those would be pulling more than 150.
Yeah, so probably in around 600 range, and I didn't give myself very much ground clearance. But
I mean, the lower the better, right?
Well, yes, to a point, and then
yeah,
when you put it on a track that's got like R1 and R2 corners with 15 volts, I think Mini Grid's 120 feet long, and this was sub 3 seconds. So it was like you just put a rubber band around the trigger and just watch it go around and around and around. Sooner or later it would fall off, but anyway.
Greg.
Yes, sir.
That's an answer to the people that pull their one car out of the box that happens to be extremely fast.
Yeah. I bought 10 cars, and this is the fast one, so I'm going to race this one.
Yeah.
Well, on that, we are at our 2-hour mark, and I think that's not a bad place to end the recording. We will continue to chat. If anybody is watching a recording later on, please attend a live chat, and you can keep chatting or ask your questions or share your shares or whatever you want to do. But for now, since it's the last show of 2020, we'll all wish everybody a happy new year, a wonderful 2021, and we'll see you all in a week. Bye.
Thanks.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.